Hi guys.
Hi, man.
So today, guys, we have one topic basically to cover, and that's an interesting topic because now, as you know, we already played 8 games in the Eredivisie. We played 3 games in the Champions League. So we have seen a little bit how Ajax is performing, but I don't want to talk about Ajax as a team. I want to highlight a couple of players this time for this topic today, and especially the youngsters, the youngsters of Ajax that basically are getting a chance this year to show themselves, or they should get this year as a chance to show themselves and become one of the permanent players for Ajax. I'm talking about Schuurs. I'm talking about Gravenberch, of course. I'm talking about Traoré, and I'm talking about Ekkelenkamp. So those 4 players, I would like to have your take today on how they're developing, how they're doing so far. Do you think they're doing well? Do you think there is more for them to bring to this Ajax? And do you think all of them will succeed also at Ajax 1? So let me start by asking Sahbi first. Let's just talk and cover Schuurs first, because Schuurs was one of the players that has been scrutinized a lot by pundits. We have seen him play in the Champions League against Atalanta, against Liverpool. I mean, against really good strikers as well. And, this is his first year, basically, playing as a starter. So what do you think? What do you think of Schuurs? How do you think he's performing so far?
Well, Schuurs had a very good preseason. He exceeded. He excelled in every aspect in defense. He really stood out as well in the first games of the season, the first games. But he can have such high grades in his game, like doing really nice. And then another game, he's getting like a terrible grade, doing really rookie mistakes, and that's something that he's not really that good at. He's not consistent, unfortunately. As I said, he had a great preseason, but he doesn't show that currently. Gets easily surpassed by quick attackers. Once an attacker tries to dribble, he walks to the back while he needs to get into the ball. And that's something that he really needs to work on.
Yeah, I agree with what Sahbi said. He's very inconsistent this season. I think his speed in a straight line is pretty decent. You saw it in the last game when he had to chase an attacker of Utrecht. He made a great last-ditch effort when Blind and him was chasing the ball in the attacker. So that is actually pretty decent, but I think he's been below par a lot of matches. And I think you have to judge him based on the big matches that we've played. Eredivisie is not the standard that you have to measure him with. Against Atalanta, against Liverpool, he screwed up twice. Once when he did not cover Zapata well with the header. And the first goal against Liverpool was, he was like, Mané had him in his pocket. He had turned away from him and it became a goal. So these are the big measurement points to judge him by. And I think Eredivisie, you can get away with it with a lot of stuff. Even against Fortuna Sittard, they scored twice and we win 5-2. So it isn't really the best standard to be measuring him by.
Let me play the devil's advocate here a little bit, because I agree to a certain extent to what you guys are saying. He has been pretty decent, so I'll take the one from Sahbi. But also sometimes you were really thinking, oh my God, this is not good. So I also agree with Ajax. However, guys, are we not being a bit too harsh? I mean, if you take into account that Schuurs is only 20, this is his first year playing as a starter, and we have also a situation in which he's playing alongside Blind. And I'm not taking away anything from Blind, but Blind is the one supposed to be the experienced player. We know that Blind defensively is also not the best player. He's there because of his, vision, but also because of his ball control and how he passes the ball. So is it fair for us to judge Schuurs for the thing that Blind lacks? I'll give it to Ajax first.
No, it actually isn't, because usually you have a complementary duo in the back. So one is, for example, fast. The other one is a distributing kind of player. The other one is like a player that plays more harsh and is like more of a pure defender. For example, the season with Blind and De Ligt, that was a better balance because De Ligt was like a pure defender. He could also dribble and attack because he was pretty complete, but he has that extra what Blind is missing. And for Schuurs, unfortunately, Blind is more of a similar kind of player than he is. So we have used the analogy cat and dog in the past. It is like two cats, another cat and a dog kind of player. And this is the problem for me, with the current situation. And I think Erik ten Hag is to blame because I understand he plays Schuurs, but then you have to have two fast or players in front of the defense that can cope and help out. And the balance has been missing on the midfield in a lot of matches. And also they have been making mistakes also in the back. So I have been saying this for a while now. I think Timber would be an ideal solution because I think he's more complementary to Blind. And I think Erik ten Hag will not surpass Blind. So I'd rather have him at the LCB position than at the midfield because I think it's worse there. And I think from the defense, he can be like kind of an extra midfielder. But he has to have balance next to him. So if Blind wasn't there, it wouldn't be a problem. But they are too similar, in my opinion.
Yeah, true that. I agree with Ajax. Schuurs has bad luck that he's being compared to De Ligt. He's the successor of, or the replacement of De Ligt. And we all know De Ligt. He was complete, as Ajax said, could defend one-on-one, has the speed, has the length, has the physics, and those are all the things that Schuurs it doesn't have. And we compare, all the fans are comparing him because we need to play at the highest level. We need to perform at the highest level, and Schuurs is not at the highest level at the moment, while De Ligt was. So I think that's one of the reasons why people are picking him out as one of the players that isn't standing out.
And to add something to that, if you want him to perform at the highest level, you also need to judge him at the highest level. It isn't a bad thing if he makes mistakes, but then you have to accept he is not at that stage that he can perform decently every match at the highest level like De Ligt did in the past. So if you can cope with that and if you can accept that it is the case, and that then you have to have a year that he can develop and maybe can be that level next year, it is okay. But you cannot measure it. I don't know how you say it in English. Two different ways, because if you judge him based on he has to stand there in the big matches, then he has to be judged also in his performance in big matches. If you give him a year to grow, then also be mild on him with your judgment and give him the opportunity to make some mistakes and make that growth.
And
I agree. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just add to that in terms of development, I do see some development in comparison with last year. I mean, he is a bit more aggressive with the help of Bogarde. So that's going well, but he's still not there yet. And that's something that he needs to develop more, because I don't know whether he will get his chance if he screws up in the upcoming games. I mean, the winter break is coming. So it might be that he will get replaced if Ten Hag's not happy with his performance.
Well, there was a rumor, right, by one of the pundits from Football International. He was Sunday on one of the channels here, Dutch channels, and he said that there are some doubts about Schuurs at the moment. Look, the way I see it is, I agree basically what you guys are saying, but I also think we have to be careful here, not to judge him with De Ligt. It's not fair to him. We also have to take into account that the midfield is different, as Ajax said as well. You have to also give some players room to grow, and you have to also, as a fan, we don't want that, of course, because we always want to win, we always want to play best football, but we also have to take into consideration that mistakes will happen. I mean, I'm not going to draw the parallel here, but, Veldman, at the end, he was 26, 27, and at the end, the last 1.5 years, he was playing his best football. He was. I'm not saying this is the same for Schuurs, but, sometimes you need to have more patience with some players. And I think
That would be a lot of patience, Juan. If he's 27 and he's arrived, then I cannot wait for that, man.
I said we're not doing the same.
No, yeah.
But you have to have a little bit patience, because I think if you bench Schuurs now, that won't help him either.
No, I agree with you. And to give a last remark on this topic, I think also it's a huge world of difference with Frenkie de Jong not being there, because he was able to dance his way out of problems and actually enlighten the load of the defense, you know. So he was able to just fix the problems and dance his way with his kind of football. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. So moving from Schuurs to Gravenberch now. Just like Schuurs, Gravenberch has basically been given the opportunity this season as well to play a lot of games on the midfield. What are you guys' opinion about how Gravenberch is doing so far, Sahbi?
Well, Gravenberch is doing very well, in my opinion. He has great stamina. His physique is incredible for his age. He's a real box-to-box player, so he runs a lot. But I think he's more attacking minded. In terms of development, he developed himself really good. He started his first game against PSV when we were trashed by them, unfortunately. But from there on, yeah, he's doing well. He's picking his goals. The only thing is he needs to know when to pressure the ball, to pressure the opponent. He doesn't choose the right moment to pressure. Luckily, he has Klaassen beside him, who coached him very well, just as he said in his last interview. So I think he's a real gem for Ajax, and we are lucky to have him in our squad at this moment, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sahbi. Although I'd rather see him exactly at an attacking midfielder position, like you said, more attacking minded. I think that is the best place for him, judging his performances last weeks. So I would rather see him there with two people behind him who can do also a little bit more of a defensive load and an attacking load, like maybe Martinez and Klaassen. That sort of balance is needed behind him. But I think he can be terrific at the 10 position. So judging from his latest performance, I would rather see him at the 10 than at one of the 6s.
The interesting thing, Ajax, is as well, just to reflect upon that, the interesting thing is that Ten Hag is using Gravenberch as one of the 3 sometimes, dropping back to build up the play. That's one of the things. And second of all, the last game against Utrecht in the weekend, we saw that Ten Hag made some adjustments, and then it was not Gravenberch who was picked out to be a number 10, but actually it was Klaassen that moved forward to a number 10 position. So in Ten Hag's mind, I think Gravenberch is more, he will keep it basically in the same role. How do you guys view that?
Yeah, I agree with you, Juan. But one thing you have to take into consideration, playing Gravenberch as a 6, he also lacks a little bit of speed. He's not the fastest player. And if you play with Blind and Schuurs in your back, you have to have somebody at that position that can bring balance and can adjust and bring the speed that is necessary in certain situations. So if you play Blind and Schuurs, it is better, in my opinion, to have a little bit of faster players in front of the defense that can distribute, but that can also help out the defense. And we've seen a lot of times the last matches that Gravenberch sometimes is chasing, and you cannot have players in that position chasing the opposition players. Also, your defenders are chasing the players. There has to be balance. So if you play Blind and Schuurs, I'd rather see him at 10. That is my argumentation for this.
Well, I from my side, I don't see him really as a 10. Mainly because I see him as more as an all-round player, more of a Gerrard, attacking with the whole team, but also keeping the balance, especially with his long legs. He can run as hell, and that's why he has such a great stamina. He can use that if he's playing as a 10. His strength would not be used as a total. So I would rather have him more as an 8, so not specifically a 6, but more in between, than having him as a 6 or a 10. So helping out the defense, but also busy with the attack with Ajax. So
yeah. I'm sorry. What?
This,
yeah,
sorry.
go. Go ahead.
Is this then you want to place him at one of the positions in front of the defense? Because in our current formation, that's what I'm basing it on. We have 2 people in front of the defense that I see more as double sixes, and we have a 10 position. So if we play him in our current formation, I would rather see him at the 10 spot than at one of the sixes, also because of the central duo. Do you prefer him at one of those sixes rather than as a 10?
Yeah, I would rather put him because we don't use those 2 sixes merely to defend. We're Ajax. We play more of an attacking play, so he will be involved in the attacking play. And by using as a 10, solely as a 10, we will lose part of his strength, which is to run from box to box, and that's basically his main thing. So I would rather keep him as a 6 indeed, and not as a 10. I would rather keep Kudus as a 10, or maybe even Klaassen going to 10, or rotate. That's also a possibility in terms of position. But I would rather start him with him on 6. Yeah.
We still have to talk, and which we will do in a minute, about Ekkelenkamp and Traoré, the other 2. But would you say just very briefly, would you say that Gravenberch, out of the 4, has the most potential?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Not by much, but I think so.
All right. Moving on to another midfielder, Ekkelenkamp, guys. Briefly, your take. I think out of the 4, Ekkelenkamp has been struggling a bit this season. To really show himself, especially the last game against Midtjylland, in which he started. That was a problem. He didn't play a very good first half. Maybe it was not entirely his fault as well, because they played with a different midfield. But I want your take on his progression so far.
Go ahead, Sahbi.
Well, as you said, Juan, he was really invisible during the game against Midtjylland. Problem with him is he doesn't get a lot of chances. He doesn't play a lot. He outperforms at young Ajax, so he's too good for young Ajax. But I don't think he is capable of playing within the first team of Ajax. I mean, he doesn't even play with Kudus being injured, meaning that Tadic is playing in midfield, Promes is playing in midfield, and surpassing him. That's an issue for him. He's not standing out, and it would be better for himself if he would get loaned out to Heerenveen or Twente. Unfortunately, Ajax wouldn't want him to leave. I don't know whether Ekkelenkamp wanted to leave himself to get loaned out, but as I said, he's too good. He needs to get loaned out to get more confidence, to get more playing time, and then get back getting his chance within the first squad. At this moment, he will not get it, so it's very unfortunate for him.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sahbi. Also, I think we also have to blame Ten Hag again a little bit for the current situation, because he's playing him, but he's then substituting him immediately after 45 minutes. And I agree with the decision of the coach that he's playing bad, and he wants to bring somebody better to balance the team. But if you have a huge talent, or I don't know, huge talent, but if you have a talent that needs to gain some confidence, that needs to get some playing time in certain matches that it is possible, then you also have to give him the trust to let him play more than 45 minutes. And I do not say that I do not understand the decision of Ten Hag, like tactic-wise, but like confidence-wise, to boost the young player, it is a bad decision. Also, we do have to take into consideration that he promised Ekkelenkamp already that he could start against Midtjylland, and Klaassen at the last moment was able to play. So I do not think it was mainly because he was only playing bad, but also because he said in front of the camera, I already promised the player that he could play, and I could not surpass him at the last moment. So that has to do something with it also.
Yeah, but Ajax, do you think that Ekkelenkamp should get more chances from Ten Hag before we judge him?
Yeah, and I do not say give him starting spots, but do as you do with promising players. Give him minutes in the matches that you have the room to give him minutes in. Do not bring Labiat at the 70th minute when you're 8-0 up or something. Bring him to give him his minutes. He's a promising young player for the future. It can still be a hit or a miss with him. Labiat, in my opinion, is just not good enough. So don't waste minutes on him if you can give it to a youth product.
Which happened against Utrecht, right? Because he started with Labiat on the number 10 position.
Yeah, also against Utrecht, but I do not remember correctly anymore. But the 0-13, I think he also... Did he substitute him?
No, he played.
Okay, sorry. I didn't recall that correctly anymore.
And he scored, actually, as well.
Yeah.
Twice, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I do agree in some parts with Ajax. If you really want to support him, if you want to really know what he's capable of, give him playing time. But don't give him playing time against the bigger teams. Give him playing time against the smaller teams. You might even give him a starter. You might even give him a starter position against a smaller team, as long as he's got playing time. He is a talent, but I don't know whether it's going to come out at Ajax at this moment. He lacks confidence. I mean, it seems like he lacks confidence. I don't know, but Ten Hag is not playing him, and yeah, that's unfortunate. So that's why I rather said loan him out, show and let him show himself, just like Danilo is doing, for example.
I do think that we will use him in the long run, and I do not think we have to loan him out yet because it's a long season. Injuries are hitting teams all over Europe, and we already miss Kudus now. So do not discard your discard your old shoes before you have new ones. So we definitely will use him. I think in the long run.
No, but I meant, of course, at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, okay.
Before the season started. At this moment, I mean, that doesn't have any added value to loan him out unless you get somebody else.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks. Let's move to the final player, Traoré. Traoré was the best player of Ajax in October. He received an award. It took us by surprise against the VVV game. He started. He made 5 goals, I think 2 assists or something as well. But even against Atalanta, he was the number 1 striker, and he scored, and he also caused the penalty. So what's happening here, guys? Let's be honest. How good is Traoré? We're talking about a guy who's 19 years of age. People are critical about him because he doesn't have that finesse, that touch. You know, people are always looking and comparing strikers with Kluivert, with Bergkamp, with Van Basten, etc., which to me, it's not fair. But looking at him at this time, 19 years of age, he's getting more minutes. He's scoring some important goals for us. How do you view his progression so far?
Yeah. I do have to agree with what Papimento said at the last game talk. I think I'm getting fed up with people like judging him all the time and already writing him off. You know, this guy's 19 years old and he has immense potential. And let's be honest, how many great strikers did we produce through the academy the last 20 years? So it is not fair to expect from him to be the next Bergkamp, Van Basten, Kluivert, because we did not have many of those. But the things that he has been showing in matches, it's pretty good. Definitely he has to make progression. Definitely he has to have work on some areas of his play. But do not discard him already because he has shown a lot of great things the last matches. He's been able to hold the ball, not always, but many times. He's always been putting effort in the duels. Like you saw against, I think it was Atalanta, you saw him flying through the air the whole time, you know. Even he was landing on his butt or on his feet, he was going for it every time. And he's been doing pretty decent. He's only 19 years old. It's his first season that he gets more and more minutes. So, yeah, let's be honest. Do not discard him already. It's a youth product. He's 19 years old. Give the guy some time. I do not say start him every match. But I definitely see a lot of potential in this guy, and he's been doing pretty decent. That's why I'm saying, at your previous question, is Gravenberch the one with the most potential? I think so, but not by far, because I'm one of the people that is pro Traoré, and I think he can develop into a great striker. And everybody's saying about Schuurs, yeah, he needs some more time. He's a decent player. He's the next De Ligt. Yeah, they're both blonde, but they're miles apart. There's not next De Ligt. So let's be honest about that. But why did we not say that about Traoré? He's actually been performing quite well. And even when he's been getting penalties for us, not every time it was a penalty, but he's there in the box. He's fighting, you know. So let's give him some props, you know. This guy's 19 years old. He's been doing pretty well. So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with his performance.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, Traoré, he took his chance. He had some nice goals. He's almost one of the top scorers in the league because of those 5 goals. He has assists. He's holding the ball for other players. He's always available for the 1-2. So in combination, he's doing very well. The only thing that I have that I want him to develop more is he needs to be more clinical in front of goal. If he gets the ball, he needs to finish them. He needs to be horny. He needs to be horny for the goal, horny for the ball. Just get into it. Go to the first post. Go to the second post to take in. And from that perspective, he can still learn a lot from Huntelaar, who is also a clinical finisher. If he gets that, then he's, of course, definitely of added value for our team. It will be very difficult for Ten Hag to exclude him from the first 11 based on his performance so far. So let him proceed. Let him continue playing this game. Keep on attacking. His goals will come automatically. So yeah, he's doing very well.
All right, guys, 3 questions now from my side to finish off. I just want you to give one of the 4 names that we discussed. So you only can pick one of those players, okay? So that will be your answer. Are you guys ready for that?
Yeah.
So far this season, which is very narrow, so until now, which of those 4 players has been most consistent?
Gravenberch.
Yeah, I second it. Gravenberch.
Which player, I'm going to ask it again, which player of those 4 has the most potential?
Gravenberch.
All right. Which of those 4 players has surprised you the most?
Traoré.
Yeah, I would say Traoré indeed. I have seen Gravenberch in the last year playing, had some minutes. Traoré a bit less, but yeah, I would say Traoré for this season.
All right. And one final, more of a gamble for next year. Which of those 4 players will be in the starting 11 next year?
Gravenberch.
Only one?
Sorry. You only said that we could say one.
More. Yeah.
But next season, you mean? Or
yes.
Okay, no, then definitely Gravenberch.
Okay.
I would also see him eventually in the international games for the Netherlands if he continues like this.
Yes. All right, guys. And if you have to choose other players as well, so next to Gravenberch for next year, any other players
out of those 4?
Yes.
Yeah. Depending how Schuurs develops, I can see Traoré if he keeps developing like this as a starter, because he's been terrific in a lot of areas. Schuurs is like a 50-50. It also depends on what Blind is doing, so I'm not confident about him being a starter if he continues like this. But then I would add Traoré to the pool.
Same for me, indeed.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time again.
Yeah.
Yes.
No problem.
Hey there. Thanks for watching. A thumbs up if you enjoyed that video. Subscribe so we can bring you more awesome content. Do it.